One of the things I love about gardening is having fruits, vegetables, and herbs available to me when they're in season. But one thing that you can grow that often gets forgotten is a mushroom. There's so many delicious edible mushrooms out there, and some of them aren't even really all that hard to grow. I think people often get scared by how they need a sterile environment, and they can be a little bit more challenging to grow, but some of them are just really easy, and this one is really, really easy. It's an oyster mushroom, and they don't need to be as sterile. They're extremely aggressive in colonization, and today, let me show you what I do to grow them. First, you'll need some mycelium to get you going, and I got my mycelium from a starter kit that I bought online. So I would buy that, grow out your mushrooms, and then as you're waiting and letting that grow, you can set up your container. Which personally, I use a bucket that has holes in it, these little holes here. I just find that the easiest, but you can also use like a PVC pipe that has holes in it or something like that. Ideally, you want something where they can hang off of it because these guys like to grow on logs and things like that. Since oyster mushrooms are very aggressive colonizers, they're not as susceptible to contamination as most mushrooms are, but I would still recommend that you wear gloves and that you have isopropyl alcohol at the ready to sanitize your work environment and your tools while you're working with these mushrooms. Next, you need to select a substrate. Mushrooms are often started in grain, specifically rye, like this jar here. The reason why is because they would pressure cook this, sterilize the grain, and then inoculate the grain once it's cooled down to this so that they have the safest start for the mushroom. So there's as little contamination as possible. However, oyster mushrooms are so easy to grow that this step isn't necessary. Now, while oyster mushrooms don't need the grain step first, they do need nitrogen in their substrate to give them food, and I simply recommend using spent coffee grounds. That's easy for a lot of people, but if you don't drink coffee yourself, then you can also get it at baristas. They're often more than willing to give you their spent coffee grounds. From there, you need like a filler or something to just add on to it. And I recommend using cardboard for that. Or you can use sawdust. I often get that from pellets that you use for a smoker or a heater. These are softwood, although I would prefer hardwood. Hardwood is better. You can also grow oysters in straight coffee grounds as well. Then you're going to want to add boiling water to hydrate your cocoa coir, cardboard, or pellets, whatever you end up using, and to make sure that you kill as many bad things to contaminate your mushrooms as possible. Then you simply want to let your substrate cool down, add your mycelium, and in a couple of months you'll start noticing pins or small mushrooms popping out. And shortly after that, they'll turn into mushrooms just like this. So I really hope that everyone does this. You could just keep this process going. You could just keep pulling off the clusters, and when you notice that they really start slowing down, you can take the substrate inside of here, add maybe like 25% to a new bucket full of substrate, and you're ready to go again. You could just keep this going indefinitely. It's really awesome, a bunch of free food. I hope that everyone does this. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Tot de volgende keer.